And now, aviation weather around Alaska. I'm National Weather Service meteorologist Peter Chan with your Alaska aviation weather as we go into the midweek. It's going to be an active pattern as we have a strong low pressure that's going to move from the North Pacific just on the south side of the Alaska Peninsula early Tuesday morning. It's going to head northeastward and then curl on back up toward the Kenai Peninsula coastline as we get into Wednesday and Thursday. And there will be a strong front associated with this low that will end up pushing into the northeastern Gulf and into the Panhandle with gale force and even some storm force wind gusts. We're going to have heavy precipitation, especially along areas of Prince William Sound and the eastern Kenai, including Seward, where rainfall amounts of 3 to 6 inches will be possible, and then heavy snows in the higher elevations of the coastal mountains, and then moisture pulling back into areas of the south central interior will also bring a wintry mix of precipitation at the lower elevation. So looking Tuesday morning, we have rather extensive IFR conditions, eastern Aleutians, tip of the Alaska Peninsula, on up into the Alaska Range, Copper River Basin, Talkeetna Mountains, Prince William Sound, eastward along the northeastern Gulf Coast, inner coastal mountains of the Panhandle, an area up toward the Yukon Flats and eastern Brooks Range, as well as along the northwest Arctic coast. By Tuesday afternoon, we see the IFR conditions increasing here across the Gulf and along Kodiak Island as that system will be really cranking up, bottoming out around or just below 970 millibars, but it is going to have quite a bit of wind and certainly lower ceilings and visibilities associated with the areas of heavier precipitation. IFR conditions also anticipated along areas of the middle Yukon River on up into the Tanana River Valley, and then along the northwest Arctic coast, IFR conditions there. We're going to see brisk winds continue along the Arctic coast north slope, creating blowing snow and freezing spray. So this area here could see surface wind gust 30, 40 miles an hour, again lending towards some low-level turbulence as well. Wednesday morning, widespread IFR conditions across the Gulf Coast into the Panhandle as that strong front, the occluded front, works its way on up to the north and east. Even the potential near the low center, just southeast of the low center, for some rumbles of thunder, isolated thunder, as we can have some convection associated with this deepening storm. IFR conditions on the north side of the middle Yukon Valley, south side of the central Brooks Range. Still IFR along the northwest Arctic coast, and then going into Wednesday afternoon, we find a widespread area of IFR conditions along areas of the Kenai Peninsula, Prince William Sound, intercoastal mountains of the northern northeastern Gulf, and then all of the Panhandle, with again the potential for some isolated thunder located near and southeast of the low center. And taking a look at past conditions on Tuesday, Anaktuvik Pass, generally MVFR conditions are forecast there. Adigan Pass may see a period of IFR conditions early Tuesday, giving way to MVFR conditions. Lake Clark and Merrill starting out VFR, becoming MVFR in the afternoon there at Lake Clark. Should be able to hold on to VFR conditions at Merrill. And as we go up along the Alaska Range, Rainy Pass as well as Windy Pass, well, that's the difference. Rainy Pass will stay generally VFR, but moisture riding northward will create IFR conditions early at Windy Pass, but then become VFR. And same thing, Isabel Pass eastward through Mentasta Pass. There's going to be a period of IFR conditions early Tuesday, giving way to VFR conditions. And then Tanita Pass, also there in the Copper River Basin, IFR conditions anticipated in the morning. They're giving way to VFR conditions. And then further down toward the south, the IFR conditions to start out there at Portage Pass, and with MVFR conditions giving way, and certainly deteriorating weather conditions will be developing this way as we head through Tuesday night, and especially Wednesday into Thursday. Chilkoot and White will remain IFR during the day on Tuesday. So freezing levels on Tuesday morning will be rather low across the state. We have the surface freezing line running along the inner channels of the Panhandle, along the northern Gulf Coast, Kenai Coast, and southwest coast back out just north of St. Matthew. And then freezing levels are at 2,000 feet aloft out there toward the central Gulf. As this low pressure gets better organized, it's going to pull a little warmer air back up to the north and west, but nothing of substantial note. We do anticipate, as a frontal band begins to lift northward into the Gulf, that there could be moderate icing along this. It's going to have a lot of precipitation and windy conditions. So initially those freezing levels are aloft are lower, but they'll bump up, so the icing threat will be increasing the further south you go there, and above 3,000, then above 5,000 feet once you just get south of the Gulf. An area of lingering moisture. There's been some freezing drizzle on this Monday. We've had some pockets of freezing drizzle around Fairbanks, and on Tuesday there could be some icing near the surface and above to 1,000 to 3,000 feet in through the upper portion of the Yukon and Porcupine River valleys there toward the Yukon Flats. And looking at the upper level jet stream winds, this deeper trough is going to be the springboard for this next stronger low. We have a strong jet core on the backside of this trough, over 150 knots. This energy is going to be rounding the trough coming up toward the North Pacific and Gulf. That's what's going to help deepen the low in this location just on the Pacific side of the Alaska Peninsula. At 9,000 feet or 700 millibars, you see that circulation, and we have winds out ahead of it, 40 to as high as 55, 65 knots as we get just below the Gulf. And so there's a lot of energy, a lot of wind coming up there in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. And then at 3,000 feet, we have the low circulation southwest of Kodiak Island and off the Alaska Peninsula. And we see a very substantial belt of winds in the 40, 45 to 55, even 65 knot range. And with those stronger east-southeast flow pulling back across the entrance of Cook Inlet, we do expect some storm force winds in that area and down through Shelikof Strait as this low deepens and then works its way on up along the Kenai Peninsula. So during the day on Tuesday, we have two areas of turbulence to contend with. Let's start with the far north. We continue to have a big area of high pressure up here in the Arctic Ocean, giving east-northeast flow that's going to continue. So that lends to blowing, drifting snow, reduced visibility. Also, we have freezing spray and along areas of the Arctic coast, north slope, surface to 3,000 feet, moderate turbulence likely in areas. And then a broad area of moderate turbulence is expected from the entrance of Cook Inlet all the way southwestward along the length of the Alaska Peninsula through the central Aleutian, surface to 3,000 or surface to 4,000 feet. And at least during the day Tuesday, there could be some gaps here along the lower Alaska Peninsula where there could be even isolated severe turbulence because of the enhanced flow coming through some of those gaps.